Hello, Codebreakers, and welcome to this week's edition of Culture Code Commerce. In today's issue, we are covering Google and Meta's AI-driven holiday ad strategies, Meta's new generative AI for video, how Americans are adopting AI at high rates, AI's growing role in the music industry, and why IKEA, Lego, and Apple are pulling back the curtain. Okay, let's dive in. You know that feeling when the holidays roll around and suddenly every brand is like vying for your attention? Well, get ready for like a whole new ball game because this year, Google and Meta are putting AI in the driver's seat for holiday ad campaigns. We've got a stack of articles here about how this is shaking things up for brands and consumers alike. What's your initial take on this whole AI advertising blitz? Are we headed for a holiday season of hyper-personalized jingles?
It's Brent. It is fascinating to see how brands are grappling with this new frontier. On one hand, you have the potential for incredible efficiency and reach, AI crafting tailored messages and targeting niche audiences. But on the other hand, there's a valid fear of sacrificing brand identity and authenticity.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We've got articles here talking about how Google's really pushing their AI tools to help brands personalize ads, optimize campaigns, all that jazz. But then there's this other side of the coin, concerns from brands about losing control over their creative vision and potentially ending up with ads that all feel, well, a little too cookie cutter. What do you make of that tension?
It's a classic case of technology outpacing our comfort zone. Brands, especially established ones, have spent years, decades, even cultivating a specific voice, a tone that resonates with their audience. And now, with AI promising to churn out ads at warp speed, there's this fear of ending up with something that screams algorithm instead of authenticity. Imagine a luxury brand known for its minimalist, elegant ads suddenly bombarding you with flashy, generic-looking AI creations. It could be jarring for consumers and potentially erode the brand identity they've worked so hard to build.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Yeah.
So where does that leave brands?
It highlights the need for a nuanced approach, a balance between leveraging AI's capabilities and retaining human oversight.
And speaking of nuance, let's talk about Meta's new AI video ad tools. These promise faster and cheaper video creation, which sounds like a dream for businesses, especially smaller ones, right? But again, is there a trade-off here? Can AI really capture a brand's unique story and style in a way that feels genuine?
That's the million-dollar question. And it speaks to a broader challenge with AI in creative fields. We can program algorithms to analyze data, identify patterns, and generate content that technically checks all the boxes. But can it replicate the intuition, the emotional intelligence that human creatives bring to the table? Can it understand the subtle nuances of grand storytelling and translate them into video content that resonates on a deeper level?
It's like AI can probably whip up a catchy jingle in seconds, but can it create a soundtrack for a brand story, something that truly connects with its audience?
Exactly. The technology is undeniably impressive. But we can't forget that advertising at its core is about connecting with human beings. And humans respond to emotion, to authenticity, to stories that resonate with their own experiences.
So how do brands find that sweet spot?
It's about recognizing that AI is a tool. A powerful one, but a tool nonetheless.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Mhm.
So rather than fearing AI as this creative takeover, brands should be looking at it as a way to augment their own capabilities.
Precisely. It's about asking, how can AI help us enhance our creative process, streamline production, and reach the right people without compromising our brand's soul?
That's a great way to think about it. And you know what it makes me think of this other article we came across? It seems Americans are already embracing AI in their daily lives more than we realize. From personalized shopping recommendations to financial planning tools, AI is subtly influencing our decisions. Do you think this growing comfort with AI in our personal lives will translate to advertising too? Will consumers be more accepting of AI-generated content if it means a more personalized experience?
That's a crucial question because it speaks to the evolving relationship between humans and technology. As AI becomes more integrated into our everyday routines, as we become accustomed to its presence in our online interactions and decision-making processes, it stands to reason that our perception of AI-generated content will shift as well. It's almost as if we're entering a new era of co-creation, where human creativity and AI capabilities work in tandem. And this isn't just theoretical. We're seeing it play out in fascinating ways in the music industry, which, like advertising, thrives on creativity and emotional connection.
It's interesting you mentioned music because one of the articles we have here talks about how AI is being used to compose melodies, even write entire songs. It even mentions Grammy winner X using AI to help break through writer's block. There's even a debate brewing about whether an AI-generated song could ever top the charts or win a Grammy. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, music is such a deeply personal art form. Can an algorithm really replicate the raw emotion and storytelling that makes music so powerful?
That's the heart of the debate, isn't it? And it's a question that goes beyond music, touching on the essence of creativity itself. Can AI truly understand and replicate the nuances of human emotion, the lived experiences, the cultural influences that shape artistic expression? Or is it simply mimicking patterns and structures it's been trained on?
And what about the Recording Academy's stance that they're open to AI as a tool? Does this mean AI music is about to flood the market?
It certainly seems to suggest a willingness to embrace the possibilities, but with a cautious eye. And I think that's the key takeaway for brands as well, to approach AI not as a replacement for human creativity, but as a tool that can augment and enhance it.
So instead of trying to hide the fact that they're using AI, brands should be transparent about it.
Transparency builds trust, and trust is the holy grail in today's market.
That reminds me of another trend we noticed in the articles. This wave of brands embracing radical transparency. We're talking big names like IKEA, Lego, Apple, all pulling back the curtain and giving consumers a glimpse behind the scenes. They're showcasing their design processes, their manufacturing practices, even their sustainability efforts. What do you make of that? Why are brands suddenly so eager to share their secrets?
It's a fascinating shift, isn't it? For so long, brands operated on this principle of mystique, this carefully curated image. But in an age where consumers crave authenticity, where they can sniff out BS a mile away, that approach just doesn't fly anymore.
So it's almost like brands are realizing that being vulnerable, showing their imperfections, actually makes them more relatable, more human.
Precisely. By being open about their challenges, their failures, even brands are saying, hey, we're not perfect, we're in this together. And that kind of honesty resonates with consumers, especially younger generations who value authenticity and transparency.
So if we connect these seemingly disparate threads, AI and advertising, the rise of AI in music, and this embrace of brand transparency, what's the common thread? What's the big takeaway for brands navigating this complex landscape?
The overarching theme is one of authenticity. In a world increasingly saturated with information and artificiality, consumers are seeking genuine connections. They want to know the stories behind the brands they support, the values they represent, and the people who make it all happen.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it.
Yeah.
And AI, for all its technical prowess, can't manufacture a compelling why.
Exactly. The why comes from the heart, from the human beings behind the brand. It's about passion, purpose, a genuine desire to make a difference. That's what resonates with consumers on an emotional level, and that's what builds lasting connections.
So as we gear up for this holiday season with brands pulling out all the stops to capture our attention, what's the key message you hope listeners take away from this deep dive?
I think it boils down to this. Embrace the power of AI, but don't let it overshadow your humanity. Use it to amplify your message, not to manufacture it. Be transparent about your process, your challenges, even your missteps. Consumers will appreciate the honesty.
It's about striking that delicate balance between leveraging technology and preserving authenticity. Because at the end of the day, it's the human connections that matter most.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, I think we've given our listeners plenty to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI advertising and the quest for authenticity.
It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Culture Code Commerce. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the trends shaping our world. Until then, stay curious. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe.